Welcome back, everybody, to the Generation Varied podcast. This is the show where we discuss pop culture, sports, politics, business, health, all of the things in between. I'm your host, Caleb Norris, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Jack Widener and Ben Okenge. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing good, man. Struggling with the darkness. I know we were just talking about this before we hopped on. You were talking about daylight savings. It's funny because just this morning Abigail and I were driving back from the gym, and it was like 7 a.m. still pitch black dark outside. She's like, "It's okay. In 3 weeks, the days will start getting sunnier again, little by little."
Oh man, I'm doing well. I had a little break from work, so this is my only weekend in DC during December. So my wife and I did a lot of Christmas things in this area that's honestly just unique to DC. We went to a few Christmas market. One of them was at a museum. It's not like an embassy. It's in an area where there's a ton of embassies. But anyways, it was just really cool to see all the local shops and small businesses, but also just like the neighborhood. Everyone's putting up their Christmas lights, Christmas decoration. It's so special to be in the city during this time because you'll be driving in a car or you're walking and you see all these like apartment buildings and you all just see like the Christmas trees. It's like, oh, we're all just enjoying this festival, and yeah, it's just a good time of the year. So I'm doing well. Definitely feeling the holiday spirit right now.
Ben, what about yourself?
I got my Christmas tree up. You can maybe see it.
I can see it
in the background, but I feel like, Jack, what you're talking about just made me think about like there's different stages of adulthood, and we're in the stage of like, okay, now we have a Christmas tree. Like we've gotten past the dorm life of not having anything, and now we got a Christmas tree. And then like, I have a house, but I never put Christmas lights on the outside. So I feel like that's the next level is Christmas. When you get the Christmas lights on the outside of the house, you've made it. You're old now.
Yeah, for sure. You're an adult once you get those Christmas lights up. Well, gentlemen, speaking of the holiday season, what do we think about our Spotify wrap this year? Or for those of us with extreme taste, our replay for the year?
Yeah. Let me just make it clear. What? I didn't even know until this moment that it was called the replay, Apple Replay.
Mm-hmm.
It took him a long time to join,
We've had replay for the last like 3-4 years.
It's saying we. No hate. I will say, there's a lot of controversy around Spotify Wrap right now because a lot of the listeners weren't honestly satisfied for the results of what they listened to. When that could be, hey, I feel like I didn't listen to this as much, or where is this artist or album I listened to during this time of the year? So I'm actually curious, Caleb, have you heard any reaction for the Apple Replay?
I have. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't think it's accurate, and I saw like a couple of viral tweets that are like, "There's no way this is accurate." Like, I saw one person that was like, "I kept a running list all year of like when I was listening to what music, and there's no way this is accurate." So I won't speak on its accuracy, but I will say Sabrina Carpenter should not have been in my top 5. I listened to one song from that woman all year long, and you mean to tell me she's in my top 5 artists? I listened to that Espresso song. It's the only song I listened to her for. I wouldn't consider myself like a fan or something, and she's in my top 5, and I'm like, I know I listened to Mariah Carey a whole lot more this year than Sabrina Carpenter. I know I did. So that it threw me a little bit, but
let me guess, it's Cowboy Carter. Number 1.
Beyonce was my number 1 artist. Cowboy Carter was my number 1 album. So I think my top 5 was like, and this is just when people talk about the gay lifestyle, I am living it. Okay, I am living it with this Apple replay. I think my number one was Beyonce. My second was Megan Thee Stallion. Here was my top 5: Megan Thee Stallion, Beyonce, Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, and I think Drake. So just
solid lineup.
I think so. Had a good time. But what about you guys?
I think I've never once been in doubt of like the accuracy of Spotify Wrapped until this year. At the end of the day, it's like it's data. Like, how are you gonna argue with it? You know what I mean? Like, this is an application they're making money tracking your data. So for them to just spit it back out at you at the end of the year, like, how are you gonna argue with that? But this year, and also I know that recency bias plays a part too, because people will be like, oh, I didn't listen to this much. I've been listening to this a lot. But it's because you can only really think about like the past couple months of what you've been listening to. You forget what you were listening to in February. Regardless, this year I was a little bit surprised with what was in there. And especially because like when I was in my bodybuilding prep, I listened to a whole lot of drum and bass, which is like a subgenre of EDM. And it was basically all I listened to when I was in the gym or doing cardio. So really it added up to like several hours every single day for most of the year. And none of my drum and bass artists or albums or anything were even mentioned. So that just seemed a little off to me. But again, maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture. I don't know. I know my number one artist was accurate, Childish Gambino, as always. That's like got to be like 5 years in a row for me. But
you're
That's
what
great.
top 0.05% of his like fan base or something.
I don't remember what it said in there, but it's high. Yeah, it's high. Not a lot of people listen to as much of his music as me. And the crazy part is, honestly, I really don't be listening to that much of his music on Spotify. Like, I really, I like a lot of his stuff that isn't on Spotify. Some of the, like, when I first became a fan, when I was in like middle school, a lot of those mixtapes that are out aren't on Spotify. So it's still
SoundCloud, huh?
Yeah, big SoundCloud guy.
Dude, I love. We could talk about that because I have a whole playlist of like SoundCloud songs or like music that was released by art. I feel like SoundCloud was like where artists like it was like a sandbox for artists, and it's like let's see what pops off over here in this little sandbox, and then if people like it, then we'll put it on like the real streaming platform. Because here's the thing, I have who's the other artist like Charlie XCX. For people who don't know, Charlie XCX has been on the scene for quite some time, and I have some of her original mixtapes from like 2011 still in my still saved in my SoundCloud account. Ooh, I could talk about SoundCloud all day.
I love SoundCloud. I had same thing in terms of just I'm pretty happy. I'm not really happy with Spotify this year. This is my first time. Like I feel like in the previous years, I feel like it was pretty accurate. This year, there's a few things. Okay, that makes sense. And a few surprises. The things that make sense.
Sabrina Carpenter also in your top 5?
No.
Was she? I was about to be like, there's no way that's accurate.
No, I'm just playing.
That's fun. Hans Zimmer made my top 5, and he's someone that has consistently made my top 5. So to me, I'm really happy about that. I'm a big soundtrack, like movie soundtrack, like
he's gonna be in Columbus.
Whoa!
Soon, Hans Zimmer concert in Columbus.
I need to go.
Link up. Come through,
I need
Jack.
to go to one of his concerts for sure.
Hans Zimmer is a genius. When I heard the score for Dune, I remember thinking like, I literally remember thinking to myself, of course, Who else? Who
They're gonna
else
start hating us talking about Dune again.
Listen, I no, but here's the thing.
I actually watched Dune on the plane.
Did you? Dude, I'm getting into this series.
That's fun.
I'm getting into the Dune series. I cannot wait for it to come out. But no, Hans Zimmer, greatest animated movie adaptations is The Prince of Egypt. I'll go 10 rounds with anybody to talk about The Prince of Egypt. That soundtrack, Mariah Carey, and Many Nights We Pray. Get out of here. Get out of here. Greatest.
There's a lot of bangers on that movie, for real.
So
Yep.
good. So good.
A few other artists that like, hey, that makes sense. Fred
Mhm.
Again was also my top 5. But similar to you, Ben, I listen to Fred Again a lot on other platforms, so YouTube, because I like to listen to sets,
Yeah.
on Spotify most of the time, singles
Yeah.
or whatnot. But a surprise for me, and you two might be happy about this, Drake.
Drake.
I love it.
Hey, you want to know something crazy? And I'm calling out. I'm not gonna name names, but you know who you are if you're listening to this. I had a lot of my Kendrick supporting friends who had Drake in their top 5 and not Kendrick. I did not see a single person with Kendrick in their top 5 this year, and I was seeing everybody had Drake in their top 5. So I don't want to hear it anymore about all these people talking about, oh, Kendrick won. Kendrick, I don't care if Kendrick won the battle. You still listen to Drake.
I don't know how this is my number 1 like song, but Like That is my number 1 song.
Really?
I love that song. That song was in my top 5 for songs for sure. Which that's why I don't think
it was in mine as well.
That's why I don't think I agree with how they're doing this, because I'm like, how is that in my top 5 most listened to songs, but it's not my most listened to artist? I don't know.
That was my original reaction too when that was in there, but then I realized that's a kind of song that's just very easy to listen to. Like it can just be on and you hardly notice how many times you've listened to it.
It's a great running song.
Because it's just like, yeah, it's catchy.
Oh,
it's just like,
don't
no
put
matter
that
what you're
song on
doing, it's
repeat.
easy to listen to.
Don't put that song on repeat because it'll just loop. You look up, you've been listening to that.
You won't even notice.
You've been listening to that. If you like that, you just wake up and from a nap if that's on repeat, and it's just gonna keep playing for real. Switching topics here. First of all, gentlemen, I don't think I believed in information silos until a couple of weeks ago. So apparently there is this internet personality that goes by the name of Hawktua Girl. Do you guys know who this
we
person
are finally
is?
talking about. We are. I hate that we're talking about this.
Yeah, me too.
Oh man,
this is supposed to be a family podcast.
You're so right. You're so right. We shouldn't even be mentioning her, if we're being honest, because this is a family-friendly podcast. But I did learn that information silos are a very real thing, and that I just found out about this person like 3 weeks ago, and apparently she's been making news since like the springtime or something like that. So
she's certified famous, bro.
What's our opinion of her rise to fame? So for those who don't know, her name is Haley Welch. She rose to fame through a viral interview clip earlier this year, leading to the creation, merchandising, and sort of capitalizing on the term the Hawktua Girl. I will let our listeners go and look up how she got that name. Recently, she has ventured into the cryptocurrency world and has launched a meme coin called Hawk. So, gentlemen, first thoughts, opinions on this internet personality, rise to fame, and have you guys consumed any of their content?
0. I saw that clip. And what's crazy is she just keep popping up on interviews or like on other platforms like podcasts or whatnot, YouTube videos. I'm just like, how is she still relevant? Like, let's move on. It feels like she is just now getting the most famous part, like the peak. Oh, maybe it's not a peak, but because it's this downfall that's following it. Mm-hmm. But it's just been, I'm just shocked at how long she's been around, like relevant, if you will, in the internet meme world.
It's so. I'll share a thought here in just a second. But Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm in an information silo like you're talking about, Caleb, but I hadn't seen her around that much. When the meme first started, I saw the clip. Like it was, I saw the clip all the time, and I thought it was funny at first, and then it just like quickly, like most memes that are overdone, it got old, it got annoying pretty quick, and then I didn't really realize how big she was getting, like, until kind of recently. So I guess similar to you guys in a way, I guess Jack kind of got to watch her rise to fame. But for me, it was just like, oh, she's a meme, and then after that is like, oh no, she's everywhere. So
I saw somebody tweet, and I thought it was very accurate. Ellen, so you guys know Ellen DeGeneres' big like fall from the graces in Hollywood because of how she ran her show. I still maintain, obviously, I don't condone mistreatment or violence or anything like that, but I still maintain that if she were a man, nobody would have said anything. But I digress. But I saw somebody basically say that Ellen DeGeneres acted as like an internet gatekeeper or like cleanser and was a necessary evil to society because she said Ellen
yeah,
DeGeneres
I
would
saw
have.
that. It was like she purified the ecosystem.
They said Ellen DeGeneres was basically like the kidneys of like famous people and viral stories because she said she would have had that Hawk Tuah girl on the very next week. She'd have had her on a 4-minute segment, would have milked her dry from all content for years and would have disposed of her, and we would not be hearing from her now if Ellen DeGeneres was around. And all I can think of is that's probably so accurate. Question for you, gentlemen. What do we think about, just in general, we haven't gotten into the crypto conversation too much. It's something I'd like us to explore more in 2025, but like, just like in general, what are your thoughts on crypto as a whole? Thoughts on meme cryptos, that kind of stuff. What do we think, gentlemen?
For me, I'm conceptually a really big fan of crypto. I love the idea of decentralizing money. I think I'm not very conspiratorial. I'm not like that deep into it, but I do think that it is important to recognize like how much power and it like control over all of the resources our world governments have. And so like I see crypto as like, I'm not so extreme as some people who will be like, it's the future of all currency. It's the only way we're going to be able to survive. But I'm like, I see a practical benefit to, to decentralizing money. But in terms of meme coins, I think they're just that. It's just a meme. I think people have fun trading, but I don't really think that they're really worth anything.
When I think about crypto now, I feel like it's always attached to something that feels like a scam because the random WhatsApp group I get added to, or
Right.
you'll go to the comment section and you see the people who are commenting. You're like, the people who are believing in this? I don't know. Like I maybe I just don't understand the conceptual side more. Like I think that's a part where the main part of the crypto overshadows, I guess, the idea, and it makes it not attractive to me. I think a lot of times when I put effort into learning about crypto, I mean, for example, when Staples Center, where Los Angeles Lakers, the original arena turned into cryptocoin.com, I'm like, oh wow, like this is gonna be happening. Like this probably will happen in terms of like everyone switching to crypto. And I think after that, like nothing has came out of it. Even like FTX, like there's just a lot of negative stories that's been followed up by around the crypto world. So me personally, I'm not a big fan just because again, like I haven't seen anything amazing come out of it in terms of stories and whatnot. And the people who are behind it, like the people with the loudest noise, I can't really put myself in the same boat with them. So
Are broke
and I just need to do
people.
more research.
The
At the end of
the
the day, I just need.
the loudest people talking about crypto are broke. Say it. Here are my
I know some
overall
people who got
thoughts.
rich off crypto though, so that's a thing that bothers me. Is it's
Here's
like you're so right, but then also I know like literally a handful of people who have now generational wealth because they were able to get on all the cryptos when it was in its infancy, and I'm like, damn, they were right.
And here's the thing, I don't think that so here's my opinion on crypto. I think that there are a couple specific cryptos that are obviously more credible Ethereum, like what's the
BTC,
yes, BTC, like all of the big
Bitcoin.
ones are pretty legit. My overall opinion on them is this: is that 90% of crypto is owned by people who make less than $100,000 a year. And so if there was, this is the way it was explained to me by genuinely, I got to sit across. This is one of the coolest moments of my career. I got to have a luncheon with a former Disney chair and CEO. He when I asked him this question, like, what do you think about crypto? Should we be investing? And he said this. He said 90% of all crypto in the space is owned by people that make less than $100,000. He said if there was any money in it, why would me and my friends not be in it? He was like, real money. He said, we're not talking about the initial offerings of that kind of stuff for like people that got in with like a really good thing. He was like, we're not talking about that. I'm saying if there was any real money, why are more rich people not into it? And so that's my general opinion.
I don't know about that logic though. That's the same thing as everything else in the entire world though. The majority of everything is owned by people who make less than 100,000 a year because the majority of people make less than 100,000 a year. So I don't think that's sound logic at all.
Majority of the stock market, and I believe the stat was that like 70% of the stock market is like actual shares are owned by people that make more than 100K a year. And so if you're just comparing assets, and if you're just comparing,
that is the exact same in crypto though. That's why we have whales in crypto, because if they make a single movement, that's how the market gets absolutely destroyed within like seconds and hours, because there's some people who have just like tremendous amounts of crypto, especially when it comes to some of those larger coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all these bigger ones. So I don't know.
I don't necessarily have a strong
logic. I don't
have a strong opinion on it. And when in doubt though, I typically take advice from former Disney chair CEOs. That's like my only validity to it is it's like, this guy probably knows what he's talking about. I still own crypto. I don't think I have like a strong opinion on it, but I can follow that logic, Ben. I think that like what you're saying makes sense to me. Haley Welch specifically is facing accusations of rug pulling after the market cap of her coin plummeted from $500 million to $28 million within hours of its launch. So we're talking about a 95%, close to 95% of a loss on this crypto for everybody who invested in it. Initial reactions. Gentlemen, there are people that lost their life savings, retirement, etc. in this meme coin. Can you imagine turning to your partner and saying, honey, we're putting it all in Hawk to a Girl's meme coin?
Listen, man, that's just my thing about crypto, which I guess I forgot to mention, is I don't believe in it as being a fantastic investment decision. I think that it has practicality for a lot of different applications, but I think that people who think that I guess where I do agree with who you're talking to, Caleb, is that I think people who think that they're going to put their money into a cryptocurrency, especially a meme coin like this, and that they're going to become rich off of it, they're tripping. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah, so man, I feel bad for those people. That's just a poor decision.
My thoughts in general are this. It's like, pal, this is like market Darwinism at this point. It's like if you uploaded your life savings into a meme coin from a girl who got famous for saying Hawk Tua in a viral clip, pal, that is some market Darwinism. You was supposed to lose that money, fam.
Mm-hmm. Survival of the fittest, man.
It really is.
I think that story just feeds, I guess, my opinion about the crypto. Again, I think I agree with what you said, Ben. It's not a fantastic investment. In theory, in the concepts, it makes a lot of sense. But when it's how it's being flushed out right now, and you have stories like this, you're like, it's just not encouraging, you know. But then people are doing it, which is the other part of the story. Is like, wow, like anybody can create a coin, and people can what do you call it, like when you short the
Pull,
coin price or
pulling the
whatnot?
rug, yeah. You can
Yeah,
technically you
it's
can set it for whatever you want. You can set the the market value of the coin sort of at like whatever you want, and then as like people are buying it, then it like sets the overall like threshold price. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that it feels like a get rich quick type of mentality when it comes to like the meme coin, and that's just not a. Obviously, everybody wants to get rich quick, but again, it's what you guys said. It's like a Dorism, so
Yeah.
like the
So
long game and whatnot. So
it's
So
just not
what's
there.
happening now then? What's happening now with all this? Because I saw that and I was wondering. I'm like, is she like, is it officially a scam? Like, she going to jail? Like, what all's happening?
So I'll wrap this up by saying this. Welch is denying allegations that she pulled the rug, stating neither she nor her team sold any tokens. She attributed the price drop to snipers or bots that basically manipulate token prices by buying them and then waiting until they get high and then like selling everything off. So these bots really can like mess with a lot of these prices. However, there are people on her team that did sell a good portion of their coins. So it's already found out that she is lying and that there are members of her team that sold off that coin like within 10 or 15 minutes of it like even opening. So there's definitely a little paper trail there that there might be some foul play present. I would say just in my overall, now anybody who knows me knows I love a little fraud case. I love a little scheme. I love me a little white collar crime story. What I would say is this: I'm estimating she's probably going to be investigated. Depending on what they find out on how much crypto was sold off, like if they basically say, no, you're the reason this actually crashed, she's probably going to get a couple of years in the chokey for sure. If they can determine that it wasn't her team's fault as to why it crashed, she's probably going to get hit with a ton of fines. But either way, it's not good for the crypto world or like her in general.
mhm.
So, but yeah, the tech world, man, what can you do? Tech and this Bitcoin and innovation.
Listen,
What can
man,
you do?
people try to make money however they can. But as we talk about tech coins, Dogecoin, that's one of the meme coins that really
Doge.
blew up. Doge
Started
will
on
bring us
Doge.
back to our man Elon Musk. And speaking of Elon Musk, or rather one of his companies at least, Neuralink, just recently announced that they're going to be opening up for clinical trials in Canada. That happened about 2 weeks ago now. I saw that on Twitter. Well, even though I don't have Twitter, I saw the tweet. Yeah, what do you guys know about Neuralink? Have you guys heard about that?
I heard about it. I think I seen you post about it on your story, which led me into just like, okay, looking deeper into this and seeing some videos of like, it's not a chip, it's like I guess it's like, what does that even look like? And of
Mm-hmm.
course, it always leads to, oh, this is, that meme from Lord of the Rings. It's like, so it begins, just like, oh, this is for those who, believe too much technology is not good for humanity, this feels like close to that, like
Mm-hmm.
a step towards it. So just more about that conversation. And I think recently just looking a little bit more into it, like what does it do? And I think a big thing is just navigating through like computers and, your thoughts and whatnot and be able to control things. So that's the gist of what I know about it. So not a lot.
I would say I'm not super well versed in the subject overall. What I will say is that it's interesting to me that more people aren't against it, just because it really is a pretty large step towards one of the things that Elon Musk like has talked about earlier in his career is like the transhuman experience. And when we say transhuman, we're not talking about people that are transitioning from like female to male or male to female or anything like that. What we're talking about is basically a human existence that is also like intertwined with technology. So he talks about the transhumanist experience. And it's interesting to me that more people aren't against it because there is a eerie feeling of, I think, dystopia when we start talking about like merging like humanity with technology. Specifically, I think of sort of the dystopian feel of like the Evangelion. Like the Evangelion like landscape is almost what it reminds me of. This like machine and like humans are like, you know, intertwined. But I know that there are a lot of benefits to it for people that should be like, from the little bit that I've done, I know that it has some pretty amazing capabilities in terms of like the functionality that it should give
Mm-hmm.
people back. So I think I'm encouraged by that. I don't necessarily think I have a really strong opinion on it, other than I'm just surprised that more people aren't like super vocal and against it. But Ben, educate us. What's the
Cool.
what's the
Yeah, we'll
background
get
here?
back to that though, because yeah, this is something that I actually know a ton about. It's super relevant to me, especially with this new announcement of their clinical trials in Canada opening up. You guys know I'm Canadian. Reason why it's super relevant to me, for those listeners who don't know, my younger brother, he just over 2 years ago was in a horrific car accident, and since then has been paralyzed from the shoulders down. And so basically he broke his neck in the accident, and that left him paralyzed. And that's just like obviously had a tremendous impact
Mm-hmm.
on him and my entire family. And so it's been just like, I mean, now that I'm in this world of physical therapy and with my own family situation and how that intertwines, I feel like everywhere I go, I'm just like seeing all these different people and their lives and the ways that they're so complicated, right? With this announcement happening, we saw the tweet actually about 2 years ago. They had announced that they were starting human trials. I immediately was like on the phone with my brother. I was like, bro, we gotta like try to get you signed up for this. We gotta find out all the info we can. And we went to their website and tried to get them signed up. Come to find out, it was only available to US citizens. So we were super bummed out about that. But now that it's opened up to Canadians as well, we went through the same process. And fortunately for him, he's now like gone through the process. He's been through several rounds of interviews with the company. He's officially on their patient registry. Within the next month or so, we'll find out if he's going to be
Wow.
able to be one of those first participants in Canada. So we're actually very hopeful for that. I'm not like trying to get too ahead of myself or excited or anything, because from what we've heard, they're only getting 6 participants. Apparently they have 10,000 people on the registry. But regardless of my own personal bias and situation, I think this is just awesome tech, and I'm really excited to see what it holds.
What I'll say, Ben, going back to my original comment, I think this technology is great when it's used for its purpose. Like used
Yeah.
for, I think the part where people can be, hey, this is the, we're gonna enter another dimension of technology. I think that's the fear of using technology irresponsibly and putting it in the wrong, not using it for the right purpose. Hearing, I was, not only knowing you and the story of what happened to your brother, and also just amazing process right now, like that makes a lot of sense. And I hope that whether that's being selected this month for your brother or just in the future, like it makes a lot of sense for the candidates. Like it sounds like your brother is a perfect fit for this, just because I've seen videos of, I guess, like one of the first recipients, and what they were able to do with the device was really incredible. Just the joy that was on their face. But maybe tell us a little bit more about like what is like Neuralink though.
Okay, so a little bit of background real quick. So Neuralink is they call it BCI, which stands for brain computer interface. And these are devices that are not new. They've been around for a long time. However, the way that Neuralink is doing it is new. And so I won't get too super deep into the weeds with that, but this is a company that was founded in 2016 by Elon and a team of 8 other scientists. And they started human trials with their first recipient getting the device back in January of this past year. It's basically, the way it works is it's an implanted set of electrical network, like wires, small wires that are attached to certain parts of your brain that allow you to control technology using your thoughts. So it was approved for people who are quadriplegic, so that could be paralysis by like spinal cord injury or ALS, so like Lou Gehrig's disease, and that's who they're targeting right now for this tech.
One of the things that I think is really, really cool, and I love, Ben, first of all, thank you so much for talking about this. I love when we talk about using human imagination, ingenuity, engineering to create something that has the ability to give somebody something back that was so essential to their lived experience, right? Like I cannot say like how excited I am that we are having this conversation. I think one of the cool things when I was preparing for this that I thought was just so brilliant was this like when we're talking about wires, people, we're not talking about like any wire that like we're thinking about in terms of like when I think of wires, I think of like two wires that you like we're talking about
like a headphone cable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're talking about like wires that are genuinely difficult to see with the eye because they're so thin. And like when you see the technology, like I think about cochlear implants, for example. Like my mom was one of the first people to have a cochlear implant like inputted for her to have a hearing aid because my mom is deaf in one of her ears completely. She had a rough experience being like one of the first people to like actually have it tried because they didn't have like the technology of actually like mounting it like figured out yet, and so she had some issues with that, or she had the implant removed and had like a different thing like put on there. But I know that it was so important for her to get to say like I got to be a part of like some of those early trials to like help like share this technology with like a larger group, and I just think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's so dope. I mean, Jack, you said you saw the video of the guy with that first recipient. Did you get a chance to see that at all?
I did, yes. Like his reaction,
so priceless.
Just
I think one of the things that stood out to me about the first recipient in what he was able to do, playing chess, listening to music on the band. I think a lot of times when you don't know someone who's physically disabled, you don't really understand what's taken away. And I also don't understand, will never understand what that is like. I think one of the biggest thing is, or for example, like growing up, we have behind the church that, we went to, there was a family friend of ours who, fell from the second floor and became paralyzed from neck down. And he creates music, and but he does it by having a chopstick in his mouth, and he pushed the keyboards. And that's a lot of work because he can't even move his neck. He's like, his muscles all coming from his tongue and his teeth, his jaw and lips. So just the idea of you are giving individuals the ability to create again. And that's like even just part of I don't even think about. So when I saw the first recipient like moving the mouse, there's this little like ball thing moving around the screen, like what piece to play for his, chess, or what song to play for the room. Like you're giving him ability to choose again and also create, hopefully. So I think that's the part where I was really moved by that story. Yeah, so I want that for everyone, and it's cool that your brother may have the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's really dope. I love the focus. So right now it is in those early stages. There really are only for the foreseeable future really going to be able to use it in some of those patients that we talked about with like the severe movement disabilities. But Elon Musk, obviously big creative thinker, he has a long-term vision for this. His long-term goal, he had stated when he started the company, was just like Caleb's talking about, to progress towards this like symbiosis of tech and humanity. He specifically even mentions symbiosis with AI. So I guess like this kind of leads to the future potential of this type of technology What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because right now we
Mhm.
have Neuralink, and they've already come out with their next feature of Neuralink that they're working on, which is called Blind Sight, which is going to help restore vision in people with different kinds of blindness. He's aiming to one day restore mobility in people with paralysis. These are like pretty major goals. And so we're seeing these medical applications, but like down the road, we know these things, like every kind of technology, it's starting as medical. What do you guys kind of like see for the future of that, and think about this idea of like the symbiosis of human and technology?
There's so many angles towards this. You can do it from ethical standpoint, from medical standpoint. There's just so many ways to look at this. I think in general, when it comes to bettering the people's lives, especially those who have suffered a severe injury, I think no one is gonna say no to that, right? Because we all want to be able have everyone have a, not saying what they're experiencing now is not a human experience, is part of it, but at the same time, like, you want them to be able to enjoy, have some part of that life they yearn for, that they lost through whatever it's accident or something that happened. But when you talk about even the bigger picture, like being close with AI, you know what I think about? I better not be getting ads when I'm sleeping in my dreams. I'm dreaming, and next thing you know, a Nike logo shows
This
up.
dream was brought to you by.
No,
I think that's the stuff. Like, it's such a big world
That's
that
funny, bro.
and also,
Jack.
I also believe that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's like my whole thing with it. It's like I see how some of y'all's phones stay on 10%. You really want to be hooked up with some wires. You in the middle. You using Neuralink for mobility or something, and you don't keep it charged. And next thing you know, you in your car in the middle of the traffic and can't move. Then what? It's like y'all be
Yeah, it
flying
can
too
be
close to the
problematic.
sun. Y'all be flying too close to the sun with your cell
Hey,
phones. What you mean? We in a
hey,
bullet.
one.
We in a bullet train going 200 miles an hour, and you using this thing for something. Even if it's not medical, maybe you using this. I don't know what it is, and then it just shut off. Mm.
One intrusive thought and it's over.
Oh, for
I'm dead.
sure. I just think it's. I could you. Well, here's my thing.
No,
My
it's all.
biggest thing with Neuralink is I'm afraid of a oops. I'm afraid of a. Well, I mean, what happens if when they install the Neuralink, it's like the bad IT guy? You know what I'm saying? The guy that like don't be setting shit up right. Like that's what make me nervous.
It's not
It's like
installed
Okay.
by a human.
it's like we need. Wait
The
a second.
last.
We need IT for this. What's the warranty look like? You know what I'm saying? Where is? Can I go to that geek squad when it start acting up? Like what do we do?
I'll say this. I like Neuralink, and I think that's an area of technology we should continue to develop because you're helping a physical need. I think when it comes to like the being intertwined way more with AI, that's something we need to give more attention to. Because what I don't want to happen, I think that's like the authenticity, whatnot. So that I feel I think I'm seeing this as two different things right now, Ben. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. I
so
think it is because it is because it's in such an early stage where it's like it is
mhm.
one thing, but it's very clear that the aim for it is to be a whole other thing one day.
Yeah.
And I think when I was originally kind of struggling with some of those thoughts of like the future applications of it, and kind of thinking like, oh, do I think this is a good idea? What could this lead to? I decided, all right, I'm going to listen to it from the perspective of the person whose idea it was, who's been working on this. And so I've like listened to countless interviews and podcasts of Elon Musk talking about this. He makes one really good point, which is about the symbiosis with tech and humanity. Is it's already happened. You have your phone in your pocket right now. That is a part of you. You are actually connected and live a big portion of your life through that technology. All this is doing is speeding up that process. So instead of having to pull out your phone and send a text message, or pull out your phone and click play on this song, you can access that just more rapidly. And so it's nothing new in terms of what it actually does. It's just new in terms of the speed at which that can be done. So I think that was a really interesting perspective that kind of like shifted how I think about it a little bit. Not to say that I'm fully open to the idea and think that there's never going to be any problems with it, but I think where it's at right now and the potential that it shows, it doesn't show potential to be some crazy doomsday thing like the boomers want to make it out to be. Like that's just not realistic for where it's at. So I'm personally very excited about it.
Ben, could you share what your brother's thought is on this? Like,
Oh yeah.
how he feels about it? Yeah, because he's the one who, will be the one who has it. So, like, what is his
That's a
thought
really
process?
good question. Because I've asked him about it too. Because originally I was more excited about it than him, but that's because I'm a nerd. So I was like, "Oh, you need to get this, bro." But then I was talking to him about it and actually asking him, like, "What do you think?" And he said, "For where it's at right now, this would be instantly like life changing for him."
Wow.
He is able to use technology somewhat well. He still has obviously difficulties and stuff with it, but like think about it. He has barely any mobility in his arms, so it's very hard for him to actually physically use his phone. He has to use a lot of voice controls for almost everything. And so even just thinking about like changing, like the process is the exact same, but just changing the voice control from an actual verbal voice control to a thought, you reduce so much error, you make it so much faster. And for him, he's thinking about gaining independence with using technology to be able to do things like his schoolwork, to be able to do things like make videos. Like he would love to be able to make like YouTube videos and that kind of thing. But like he can't edit YouTube videos. There's no way that he could do that on his own right now. And so like these kind of technologies would definitely give him the independence to be able to do that.
Wow.
So he's excited about it. I just think it's going to be a matter of just waiting and seeing. I mean, I hope he gets it just so we can see what it's like.
Right.
Selfishly.
Well, one of the cool things is that like even if he's not selected for this trial, it's like you at least know that you're one step closer to that being reality.
Exactly.
The fact that they're
Yep.
even testing this right now, you at least have probably a window time frame of next 5 years or something like that he should be able to be a candidate for it. So I think that's really, really encouraging. And ultimately, like, I'm happy that we're at a place with technology when we're talking about being able to give people back their mobility.
Just to kind of like wrap it up, I do have one last question for you guys on this. And that is, let's just say we're 10 years down the line. Neuralink is no longer in these early stages. Everyone with the disabilities that qualifies for it has got it. They're all set. Now it's just going out to the general population. If you can afford it, you can get it. You guys getting the chip? You guys getting that Neuralink?
I don't think I will. And I think that's the conversation we'll definitely dive into in terms of why. Again, I think the biggest thing are like Neuralink, it's if it serves this disabled community. I think what you said is like the target audience. Then that makes a lot of sense. But for me, I don't think I need another form of technology in my life. I also like what else is advancing during that time, I don't know. I think I would need to give more thought to why I need this in my life. So, but it does sound cool. I think about the movie Her because with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, that's kind of what I think about. Like, if able-bodied people do use Neuralink, what would they use it for? Aside from work and communication, again, one intrusive thought and it's over.
The group chats in the Neuralink would be crazy though. Think about the group chats on Neuralink.
Oh no.
My thing is that like I probably would not be interested for a long time because I want to. So when it comes to, I'm okay with like modifying, I think, the body. I am vehemently against the like uploading, the concept of like uploading your conscience into like a database and like going on past your like lived experience like mentally, and like a San Junipero Black Mirror kind of scenario. I am vehemently against that because I think it would be maddening to like have your mind exist for like as long as you wanted to. I think that would be maddening. But I think modifications that go to like help the body and that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to. So yeah, maybe, who knows? My thing is this. I know technology.
You're the type, Caleb.
Y'all know me.
I just know you. You're the type. You just want to see other people do it first. You're like, I'll do it, but I need to make sure that you guys get it. Make sure it's safe. I want to see what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Then I'll get it.
Absolutely. If you look at like the bell curve of technology adoption, I am never like one of those pioneers or early adopters. I'm always like first majority, and here's why. Yes, you can capitalize really big, but you're also mitigating risk significantly because most things don't actually work out. So if you just jump on every single train, it's not going to go very well for you. But you absolutely are correct. But here's the thing. I might be too black to be trying to have Neuralink, because I'll be down there like when y'all installing this update, y'all ain't got no cup holders up here for all of my I would just be like, my thing is this, I don't want to get an outdated model, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get 2020. I need the most updated. It needs to have the most amount of cup holders. It needs to have automatic windows. Like, I need the premium package if this gonna be in my brain, you know what I'm saying? And until I can verify that I have a good product, ain't nothing going up there, because this baby right here, she be putting in work. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's all I got. All right, it's been me and homegirl up there for years now. Okay.
Ben, would you get it?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm actually normally on Caleb's side of not necessarily being an early adopter. In fact, I wouldn't even say I'm in the early majority with most things, but that's because with most things I don't actually understand it. This is something that it's like I study the brain. I get how this works. I think that the technology's safe. I see a lot of potential for it, so I would get it, no doubt. Easy choice for me.
That's great. Well, I know we talked about Spotify earlier and technology and just things that kind of influenced us. I definitely want to shift us to something a little bit more lighthearted. Fashion, gentlemen. Specifically, fashion icons. And I want to know, when you were in high school, for example, when I was in high school, Yeezys had a chokehold on me. And I didn't own any Yeezys. I couldn't own it. But if you had Yeezys or anything, like you knew somebody in high school that had it, it's not just rich, but like, oh, you have a higher taste or whatnot. I think I lived during my high school, we lived in a time where hype culture was at its peak. And I think a big reason for that is athletes and musicians and whatnot. And I am just kind of curious for you both, when you're in high school, what would you say, like when it comes to athletes and celebrities who had a lot of influence when it comes to your wardrobe? Like, who did you look up to? Or Ben, for you, like, even for sports, is there a certain individual that you followed a lot to heart when it comes to picking out, like when you go shopping or picking out your outfit for the day?
Yeah, when I was in high school, strangely, it was Kyrie. Like, first of all, I think it started from. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I would say Kyrie because first of all, when it came to actual like shoes to actually play basketball in, I was always very much a function over fashion guy. I was always just like, I don't care if the shoe's ugly. It needs to be comfortable. I need to feel confident in it. And I need to know that like it's going to do what I need it to do when I'm trying to perform. And Kyrie, some of those earlier shoes, the Kyrie 1, the Kyrie 2. Kyrie 1 is honestly my favorite basketball shoe of all time. And I had several, like probably 8 pairs of the Kyrie 1. And I had
8.
several pairs of the Kyrie. Bro, I had a lot of Kyries. And because they were excellent, I knew I was going to be, once I got them, I was like, these are the only shoes. And we were playing outdoors. It was Uganda. You know, you need multiple pairs. But because those shoes get worn out quick. But then it transitioned from just like these are excellent basketball shoes to no, I like Kyrie's swag too because it's very relaxed, it's very comfortable. It's still like that's still how I dress now. I feel like I just kind of just keep it simple but looking fresh.
Dude, it's so crazy. That was gonna be mine. Was that in high school? I didn't play basketball or anything like that, so I never had like a reason to have like basketball shoes specifically. But I remember the Kyries were always like affordable. They always looked really good, and they always like were super comfortable and just like I didn't play basketball, but I did play sports. Like they were just a good functioning like gym shoe, and like they had good grip on that. Like,
Yep,
dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. The amount of
everything
times
you need.
dude, and they were affordable. I think you could get Kyrie's for like $90 or like $80 or something like that. Which like
exactly. Why do you think I had 8 pairs as a high schooler?
in terms of overall like athletic wear, like most Nike basketball shoes weren't getting out of bed for like even a decade ago, like 125 or something like that, 130. So like to be able to have an affordable shoe, I know exactly what you're talking about. I loved Kyrie's. That was my choice. I'm so glad we didn't go over this in prep because that was an honest reaction. I loved Kyrie's.
Yeah, I'm glad.
One more. So for me, I love Adidas, specifically Adidas Ultra Boost. Man, they were just. I will be going on these like because a lot of times during the hype culture, a lot of times shoes will be sold out immediately, and you have to go on these specific shoe website like Goat or StockX, whatnot, and I would just be just looking at Ultra Boost 1s and 2s and the third generation, and yeah, it definitely, I would say, Kanye was a huge influence of that because that's the time when he had a huge, not control, but influence on Adidas fashion. And I really like that, what he was doing there. I didn't have any Yeezys, by the way. I couldn't afford for any of them. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is now, we're not in high school anymore. I'm guessing the way we go about shopping for our wardrobe is a little bit different. And I kind of want to hear what is your thoughts on or how you approach your wardrobe these days. Like, Ben, are you so like, hey, I'm focused on function of the shoe or the pants or jacket? Or do you guys have, like, where do you guys look for inspiration for your outfits lately?
Yeah, I think honestly for me it still does come down to function, and a lot of that has to do with now like how involved I am with bodybuilding and everything, where it's like my body drastically changes shape within a year. So like if I get a t-shirt, I need to know it's going to fit me when I weigh 205 pounds and it's going to fit me when I weigh 170 pounds. So now these days, like I keep it stupid simple, and I'm always busy with school and like all the work that I'm doing, and so it's just like everything oversized, and that's it. And I pull it off, and it looks good on me. So that's what I just stick to because it works no matter what I feel like, no matter what I look like.
When it comes to, I guess, your gym outfits, do you have like an influencer you feel like that you mimic after, or like not so much, like you know what you want these days?
Yeah, pretty much, honestly. I know what I like. I know what's comfortable. Like I said, I mostly just wear oversized stuff all the time. So it's just simple for me.
Caleb, what
I
about
wish
you?
there was though. I wish I was more into fashion like that, but just not right now.
I would say for me, here's what I try to do. I try to go for what I call like, or what people call like a capsule wardrobe. So it's like I try to go for pieces that are going to be staples in my closet for like a long period of time. So I don't actually have a ton of things in my closet, but what I'm trying to do is like the pieces that I do have are like quality, like I can wear them, I can dress them up, I can dress them down if I want to. And that's been like that's been a lot of fun for me, is how do I, because in general it's like I work from home, but I also do like really enjoy how fashion is an expression, oftentimes a reflection of how like we're feeling, or any of those kind of things, what we're going through even sometimes. And so I try to go for a mixture of like neutrals, because I typically want to like look at least decently professional when working from home. So I wear a lot of blacks, and then I have like my statement pieces. So all of that to say, it is very methodical. I do have a little lookbook for myself that I'm putting together for 2025 for looks and outfits that have looked good on me. So
Hey.
I do enjoy it a lot.
Drop the spring 2025. We want to see it.
That would be a fun episode to
For
do.
real.
Or that would be fun, yeah.
But Jack, I will say one thing though. That one thing is that because I dress so simple, I always like to have nice sneakers. So I have a pretty decent decent collection of shoes, and basically all my outfits are just centered around the shoe. So it's like that's what I pick first. Is like, what shoe am I gonna wear today? We're going with these Jordans today, and then everything else just goes around it, because everything else is simple. It's just mix and match what goes with the shoe.
Yeah, that's great. I think the biggest difference how I go about my wardrobe today as opposed to when I was high school is I don't really follow one person. Honestly, it's not like a catalog, but some brand will put out like hey, this is our spring 2024 issue or fall 2024. Like I like looking at those and then not buying those pieces, but like find like the cheaper options. And I think that's definitely more relaxed recently. Just I think like you, Ben, just whatever's more comfy and functional. But I would say like in high school, I want to be on the hype. I was a wannabe hype person. I just couldn't really afford it. But now I'm at a place but I still feel like I don't fall for the hype part of the fashion. I still go for the comfy and stuff like that. Well, anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is it sounds like a lot of professional athletes has some influence over our fashion over whether it's high school or in college or in our adulthood. But I think one of the things that's catching my attention is Converse signed Shea Alexander, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, or known as SGA. He's a basketball player on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they did something I'd never seen before, where not only they sign him and endorse him as with the shoe and logo, they also included him for the creative director for the company, and not just over his brand, but Converse in general. So it's just interesting to see I guess, refreshing approach, a different approach towards big brands like Converse. Because if you don't, for those who don't know, Converse was a huge part of NBA in the beginnings. A lot of people wear the Chuck Taylors, the All Stars. That's what most of the basketball players wore. And around 70s and 80s, they kind of had a fallout where Adidas and Nike took over. So now we're seeing this resurgence and this effort from Converse trying to make an effort to connect with the NBA again. So they just signed a pretty big deal with a rising All Star that I think has a swag, and he's Canadian, Ben, and he's a phenomenal player. So it's just cool to see, brands just taking a different approach towards fashion recently. So, but anyways, I thought I'd want to share that. I want to keep looking out for deals like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, SGA is that guy. I'm excited to see what this kind of brings out. It's kind of unique.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'll be fun to see. In general, I like brand wars a lot. I love a brand war.
Yeah.
Like Nike's right now struggling, so they've got Air Maxes on sale for $90. So You know I bought 2-3 pairs since they've been on. They said Black Friday doesn't end until 2025, and I said thank you. Thank God your CEO had no idea what he was doing, because I am capitalizing on these Nikes, and that's not a joke. Everybody, if you live in my life and you're getting something for Christmas, just know Nike is gonna be included,
Just
because
know it's Nike.
Yeah,
because that Black Friday
that
price,
is so funny.
they doing Black Friday till 2025, and I have been obliging them happily.
Well, we'll take it. Well, as always, thank you guys for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to build this community with us. If you enjoyed listening, please rate us 5 stars on whatever listening platform you're listening to right now, and share the episode with a friend. You can find us on social media at Generation Varied. Send us a DM of any topics you'd like to hear or any feedback you have for us. You could also email us at generationvaried@gmail.com. We could not do this without you. Thanks.